Do you know all the Integrity Knights in SAO? Who do you think is the strongest? So what's up guys, Fox in here. Today let me give you a quick but juicy look at every Integrity Knight from SAO Alicization. Oh, and be sure to post your favorite knight below. So go ahead and nuke that like, subscribe for more in-depth videos like this one, and don't worry, at most there will be minor spoilers. So let's go ahead and take a look. And a thank you to today's sponsor, Icarus M Riders of Icarus, a lovely MMO now on mobile. Choose your character. Agio, is that you? Complete with an axe and shield. A cute artist, a loli with a giant brush. The waifu wizard, wielder of ice and fire. The ranger, aka the archer class, getting a shinen vibe. The assassin, the dual blade killer. You already know who this reminds me of. Icarus comes with a complete skill system. Each class will offer you unique skills to show off. What's freaking awesome are the familiar pets you can tame. They range from wolves, unicorns, a pegasus, and yes, dragons. That's all I need. Not only can you fly casually, but there's also sky combat. Experience battles in the vast skies and over water. Go ahead and click my link down below to pre-register. As a bonus, you're gonna get a ton of free goodies. That includes a limited edition familiar lovely Pollo, plus $30 worth of items. And you will also be awesome by supporting juicy videos like this one. Integrity Knight number 1, Bercoli. This guy was over 300 and was the strongest human in the underworld. He was a knight commander and an overall pretty laid-back guy. He always gave me this parallel to Kirito, just more grown up. As a human, Bercoli was known as the ancient hero who founded the Ruled Village. Bercoli had his own infamous legend, Bercoli and the Northern White Dragon. Quinella just had to make Bercoli kill that pesky dragon from his story. That's messed up. Naturally, he was pretty close to Finatio. They did get frisky 3 months before the war. Bercoli Jr. is gonna be a little Hercules kid. He also did think of Alice as his pupil and daughter. Bercoli always did have his own suspicions about the seal and Quinella, but the dude was chill about it. I mean, even after dying and meeting the false goddess again, Bercoli didn't hold any harsh feelings towards her. In terms of raw power, it was pretty much superhuman strength. I mean, you had the guy trying to break out of Yuju's ice using nothing but sheer muscle strength. Holy crap. On top of this, the guy freaking moved when stoned through willpower alone. Bercoli had a massive blade, and also the time-splitting sword. This was a divine object that Quinella made from the hands belonging to the system clock of the cathedral. Bercoli went ahead and developed 2 key techniques. The first, Karagiri. This was capable of cutting into the vertical axis of time. In other words, slicing into the future. This was something developed after getting that scar fighting a Dark Knight hundreds of years ago. In reality, Finatio, Alice, and the rest of the knights after Bercoli likely developed this long-range perfect weapon control as a counter to his blade. During the war, you saw Bercoli using this to an extreme, holding over 300 incarnate swords, all of them ready to unleash on some nasty minions. Then for the opposite side, Uragiri, slicing into the past 10 minutes ago. Bercoli let this one rip on God Vecta plus his dragon. This thing is unavoidable, unblockable, and really a betrayal to any and all technique and skill, which is why Bercoli doesn't like to use it. Thankfully, it was all for a good cause. The strongest Integrity Knight succeeded in killing a god to save his blonde daughter, gone with a big old smile. Finatio, the second Integrity Knight that Quinella summoned from the Celestial Realm. She is a vice commander of the Integrity Knights. She looks around mid-20s, perhaps from the eastern region, and not on good terms with Alice. Finatio claimed that guys she fought always fought her with kid gloves, after going gaga over her looks. Oh, did she just call herself pretty? At least when fighting Shasta. Perhaps he went easy due to being reminded of Volipia. You may be able to see the resemblance. This led to Finatio's complex, which led her to fighting fully armored, really giving off the Celestial Warrior vibe. As a positive, Finatio's insecurity actually fueled her into learning consecutive sword techniques. This, combined with her long-range perfect weapon control, helps to keep opponents afar. It's actually interesting to notice that Finatio started to feel more subconscious when rivaled with Alice's beauty, which did lead Finatio to step up her makeup game. For Finatio's weapon, about 130 years ago, Quinella took 1,000 mirrors, then focused Solus's light into a single spot. Quinella's little experiment here was trying to create a weapon of destruction without sacred arts involved. Unfortunately, Quinella deemed it too elaborate to be used in battle, so she bound the mirrors together, forging the heaven-piercing blade. Finatio described this as wielding the very power of the sun goddess. Shinen may have some words for Finatio. Under perfect weapon control, Finatio can fire a beam of light instantly. She doesn't require charging or any thrusting prep time. These blasts are even capable of melting the marble floor. The downside? It could only fire a beam of light at a slim point. A swarm of enemies could easily overwhelm her, like in a war. With memory release, this does summon all of the weapon's memories. Really this wild display of Solis's power. Careful of friendly fire. Post Quinella, Fenatio actually felt something change within her after facing Kirito. She was finally able to grow and move past her insecurities. During the war, Fenatio actually infused her incarnation of love, bringing out this light beam of destruction. Let me just mention the anime greatly exaggerated its effect. The beam of light should have only extended over 5 meters from the end. Either way, Fenatio is going to make a great new Knight Commander, and an awesome new mother. Integrity Knight number 7, Del Silbert. You saw the guy showing off his sniper skills versus that Dark Knight. Design-wise for me, he always looked like this red devil figure, which always seemed like this perfect symbol for this corrupted church. As a knight, the guy spent over a century assigned to the northern region. This was until he fulfilled a certain request, to bring over this dangerous little blonde. Quinella awarded him with his flame-resistant crimson armor, and he was also given a new security role at the tower. After awakening as a knight, he was always tormented with a strange dream. This was of course related to his stolen precious memory of his beloved wife. He never did tell anyone about it, otherwise he feared it being wiped from his mind from a certain demigoddess. He simply went on believing that he was a summoned knight from the celestial realm. At the start of the war, the Crimson Knight came to one realization. He yearned for his loved one in his dream, but unfortunately this person had long been gone from this world. This now became his burning motivation, to protect the world that his wife once cherished. For his weapon, the Conflagration Bow. You won't be surprised, his flaming bow was originally this powerful phoenix. This spicy KFC once lived in the biggest and oldest volcano in the southern region. Naturally, the guy always carries a bunch of steel arrows. It is also possible to generate more via Sacred Arts, although this does take time. But no arrows, no problem. Under perfect weapon control, time to snipe away with some flaming arrows. And don't forget about his side weapon, this high priority blade generated by Quinella. Oh, did I say sword? More like a better arrow. During the war, the Crimson Knight sacrificed his weapon for the ultimate display of force. Super crispy. Something tells me he would love Goddess Shinan. Integrity Knight number 10, Edis, from the SAO Rising Steel timeline. She also gets along pretty well with Bercoli. Edis is super close to Alice. Fenatio, on the other hand, not on the best of terms. How Edis became a knight hasn't fully been revealed yet, but as a human, her calling was swordsman. Edis actually had a little sister, Mary. This is likely why she gives this older sister vibe, especially towards Alice. Edis deeply cared about her younger sister. Unfortunately, the little munchkin had a bad leg. Edis actually heard about the legend of this great dragon in a cave. It's a crazy idea. How about finding Mr. Dragon and then asking it how to heal her sister? Edis thought that going to the End Mountain was technically allowed within the Taboo Index. She wouldn't be going past it. Unfortunately, her journey to the mountain quickly got to a detour after coming across this bottomless swamp. Edis thankfully did avoid sinking, all thanks to this mysterious little spider. But too bad, she was forced to return home empty-handed. Edis wields the Japanese divine weapon, the Dark/Sword. Her sword could actually phase through weapons and armor. It has some memories from when it was sunk at the bottom of a dark lake. If you touch it, you're gonna be trapped in darkness. The darkness just keeps on growing. The fun part is that it blocks out light and sound. Edis actually doesn't like using it with others around since it does affect allies. Be careful. Edis officially awakened as Knight number 10. She was initially assigned to the Eastern region, which meant she was stationed at the Great Gate. At number 10, she is older than Shetta, so 200 years plus or so. Edis actually didn't mind the idea of being immortal, since that would actually give her a lot of time to eat delicious food. Integrity Knight number 12, Shetta, known as Shetta the Silent. She is this young lady at over 100. Physically, she looks about 20. I can't be the only one that got this Claymore vibe from her. Interestingly, Shetta didn't gain her nickname due to being an introvert. She simply avoided other knights to avoid duels. She was deeply afraid of accidentally cutting off their heads, which is why Shetta spent a good chunk of time on floor 75. An entire floor pitch black night and day. She spent over 100 years in silence. Before her knight sentence, Shetta was actually the winner of the 4 Empire Unification Tournament. It wasn't really a fight, more like a complete bloodbath. Every opponent she faced was killed. It was so horrifying that they actually had to erase the record from existence. Shetta herself was aware she didn't share the knightly ideals of pride, duty, or honor. She was only interested in cutting. It wasn't necessarily due to her enjoying it, it simply was something that happened. Versus the target, Shetta had a clear vision of the cross sections where she was meant to cut. Oh, and by the way, Shetta is able to slice with her bare hands. Quinella took notice and tempted her. Post this age of blood and iron tragedy within the Dark Territory, something special had remained. Sheta was tasked to retrieve it. Sheta left on foot, searching for 3 days. Eventually, she found the Black Lily. Quinella took it, and from it generated the thinnest, smallest divine sword, a blade that could cut through anything. This new blade would embody the curse carved into Sheta's heart. According to some rumors, Sheta's skill with the sword was equal to Berkoli. Too bad they never actually got a chance to seriously test that out. The following year, after getting the new blade, some poor knight challenged Sheta to a duel. The poor bastard ended up as sushi. She requested to be put under deep freeze. Post-war events, Sheta finally gave up the blade. The real reason she was spending all her life cutting everything was to find something she did not want to cut. Next up, Integrity Knight 16 Neogias, known as Negio, and Integrity Knight 18 Entokia, or Enki. You only first learn about them post-war events in the Moon Cradle arc. Negio's divine weapon is known as a Storm Sprout Spear. It was originally made from this overgrown onion. To be honest, both of these knights didn't really give off this good impression. Negio insisted on Kirito being executed for rebelling against Quinella. And no surprise, neither of them participated in the Underworld War. Perhaps Rek is gonna expand on them one day. The four whirling blades, Dakira, Jace, Jiro, and Hovrin. In reality, Quinella looked poorly at these four lower integrity knights. They were more like the loser squad, which is why Fanatio took them under her wing. She determined they were not fit for solo missions. Fanatio instead taught them teamwork to make sure they didn't die. None of these knights had consecutive sword techniques. However, fighting as a group was effectively the same, just spread out among them. From them, you're most familiar with Dakira. She was born to a poor fishing family without a family name. At 16, she fell in love with another girl, one who resembled Fanatio a bit. This was the ultimate no-no in the eyes of the Axian Church. Naturally, Dakira knew better than to reveal her love, so she went to a local church and prayed to Goddess Stasia for forgiveness. This confession is how Quinella actually found out. Dakira quickly found herself in a bed with another girl, just not the one she wished for. From that time, she dedicated her entire existence to a single person. Her feelings were nothing short of romantic love. Sadly, Dakira ended up giving up her everything to save her beloved Fanatio. You now know that Dakira actually saved 2 lives that day. Integrity Knight 27 Renly, aka the guy who ran away during the war. Renly was originally from the Southern Empire. He was described as a genius with the sword. Renly actually traveled and grew stronger with his best buddy. They shared the goal of someday becoming knights. They were like a pair of birds. Renly was actually just over 13 when he took part in the unification tournament, but his dream came crashing down when Renly accidentally took the life of his best buddy. Their friendship and bond always felt like a parallel to Kirito and Yujiro, except imagine the reverse, the Kirito figure dying instead. This is a memory that Quinella stole with the Knight Ritual. Post-awakening, Renly was actually placed among the elite knights. Renly even had a divine weapon chosen. The bad part? Renly was not able to achieve perfect weapon control. Quinella was not amused. She quickly lost interest. It only got worse when Alice joined up the knights soon after. She showed amazing potential. This really just made Renly question his existence. He truly believed he was the weakest integrity knight. Poor thing, Renly was branded as a failure and then put on ice. Renly does wield the double-winged blades. They're pretty thin weapons. It may surprise you, but they actually take a lot of skill to master. Each time they return, there's always a risk of losing a couple of fingers if you're not careful. Renly didn't realize it, but just being able to handle these is actually proof of his talent. Originally, the double-winged blades had been a pair of holy birds. Each of them had lost a wing. Unable to fly, both of them connected their bodies and then flew an infinite distance. The Terrible Two, Lino and Fizzo. Quinella actually ordered nuns and monks to create them. She was interested in testing out resurrection arcs that could completely restore lost life. Lino and Fizzo got their calling at 5, to kill each other, revive, then repeat. With the resurrection experiment, some kids exploded, others ended up as weird chunks of McDonald's meat, and some were completely different people. The clever little girls actually realized it was best to kill in a single hit. That would give them the best chances of the resurrection to work. They were so dedicated at it that they even practiced while the other kids slept. They focused on nothing but the best way to kill. Fast forward 3 years, the resurrection experiment was abandoned. From 30 kids, only 2 had survived. Both of them had actually been given the honor to freely choose their next calling, so they chose Integrity Knights. You might have guessed that this didn't sit too well. To prove themselves, Lino and Fizzo ended up fighting the two newest knights. But whoopsie, they ended up slicing their heads off. So Quinella made a special exception for them. They would replace the two knights that died, although they were still only apprentice knights. Post-war events, Lino and Fizzo got promoted to full Integrity Knight status. This meant they got fitted with some small armor and even got dragons. Quinella had strangely not performed the synthesis ritual on them, although she had frozen their lives as kids. You could bet that Quinella was screwing with them, which means unfortunately they're never going to age past like 10. Oh yeah, lowly life forever. Better just say you're short. Integrity Knight 30, Alice. Not to be confused with young Alice. Alice is third in command, and Bercoli even hinted at Alice surpassing him one day. Alice really doesn't get along too well with Finatio. She's also not that good at cooking, and she's been called Baka 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 8 times by Kirito. At the beginning of SAO Alicization, Alice was taken away when young. So cruel. She was only worried about that dying knight. Alice actually didn't become a proper knight until around a year before facing Quinella. Notably, Alice has been one of the few to resist, so she was forcefully synthesized. Even before ever becoming a knight, Alice displayed immense potential. She had a general talent for sacred arts at a young age. She even learned how to forecast the weather via sacred arts. Yujiro wouldn't be surprised if Knight Alice was actually able to manipulate the weather itself. Young Alice even displayed talents in other areas. From time to time, she practiced sword fighting with the other village kids. Alice even managed to knock Kirito and Yujiro on their backs using sticks. One of the parts I do love about Alice is how she pretty much represents everything that Quinella feared. The special individual born with enough potential to challenge her authority. As for Alice's stolen memories, young Alice loved Yujiro, Selka, her parents, everyone in the village, Roulette itself, and even the time surrounding her loved ones. Even the almighty Quinella was not able to convert time and space, which meant she couldn't link a sword to Alice. This is why that sword that Alice and Yujiro made was so beautiful and radiant. Talking about swords, Alice wields the Osmanthus blade, which has the highest level of physical priority of any divine object. Originally, it was a simple Osmanthus tree that grew where the cathedral stands, supposedly placed by goddess Stacia herself. It is the oldest thing in existence with this everlasting eternity quality. Kirito felt the full force behind it feeling several times heavier than its night sky blade. Under perfect weapon control, the blade splits into hundreds of tiny flower fragments, each extremely heavy. A single one is capable of smashing stone and piercing the earth. Alice can change their shape, like making them super stabby. As a sacred arts user, at times Alice has been compared to Quinella or Cardinal. Recall that massive sacred arts? That was definitely something on their level or above. It really is no surprise that by the end of Alicization, Alice is described as the most powerful sacred arts user. Take that, Quinella. Post-Quinella, Alice really felt lost, almost to the point of taking her and Potato Kirito's life. Eventually, Alice was able to find her way again. She would fight not as an Integrity Knight, but as this individual swordswoman of her own free will and mind. Integrity Knight 32, LG Wolfsburg. Really a fresh Integrity Knight summoned a month when Yujiro broke the taboo index. Lover of wine too, we would get along. As a human, this guy was a northern noble. At the Imperial Battle Tournament, he actually faced off against Lina Senpai, to which he barely lost by a slim margin. You know what this means. It was almost Lina greeting Yujiro and Kirito on that night. LG eventually went on to win that year's unification tournament. Despite LG's memories being stolen from him, his noble-born pride and self-confidence shined through. LG eventually went on to serve as a disciple of Alice. No surprise considering how much he worshipped her. Eldri is the wielder of the divine weapon, the Frostscale Whip. It was once a two-headed white serpent that ruled the largest lake in the east. Even as a whip, this thing still had the speed of the snake, the sharpness of its scales, and the accuracy of its aim. Under perfect weapon control, this thing could actually split into 7 parts and cover 50 meters. As a knight, LG's final wish was to protect the blonde he loved. Thanks to Yujiro giving him a little push, LG was able to tank that bitch like a boss. Farewell, Knight 31. Integrity Knight 32, Yujiro. Yujiro definitely takes the record for the shortest knight status on his resume. The guy didn't even get a dragon. Yujiro did get the honor of testing Quinella's improvement in bed. The prism she used would allow him to use incarnation instantly. No more need for that inefficient training. He came with its own divine weapon, the Blue Rose Sword, a blade being half ice. The blade has 2 distinct parts. From the eternal ice you have freezing, from the roses, absorbing life from whatever is frozen. The sword itself actually appears in the legend, where Bercoli was trying to steal it from the white dragon that helped to protect the human empire. Before that, it actually came from a chunk of ice from the very top of the End Mountain in the north. Under perfect weapon control, the Blue Rose Sword releases encasing ice vines and roses that slowly drain the opponent. Yujo actually settled on this effect for the purpose of immobilizing Alice. It was only designed to imprison the target, not harm them. And you felt the full release of the memory release versus Bercoli. It unleashed this sub-zero temperature, freezing an entire pool of hot bath water in an instant. Putting the blade aside, Kirito actually saw the full potential in Yujo. He thought that perhaps Yujo would surpass him one day. In his final moments, Yujo displayed matter conversion to create the Red Rose Sword, which was something that should have only been possible for Quinella or Cardinal. Alice actually wondered if the Blue Rose Sword could have part of Yujo's soul within it. You know that Yujo had fused himself with the sword. Perhaps within it remained part of his will. Next up, a combo package, Integrity 9 of Kirito and Yujo. Reki has written a what-if timeline. What if Yujo and Kirito never ran into issues with those Nobos? Both of them would have eventually graduated from the academy as ranked number 1 and 2. They would have gone into the unification tournament and staged the draw. Oh yes, this meant a 3-way with Quinella. I mean, knight status for both of them. I don't think they really fought Quinella, she was suspicious. Still, Quinella acknowledged both of them for that year. Yujo would have gotten knight number 32, and then Kirito would have gotten 33. Integrity Knight Tisei and Roni. Post-war events, both of these actually became apprentice knights. Roni actually got her own weapon too, called the Moonbeam Sword. The sword released its own life as this enhanced light healing art. Then for Tisei, what type of weapon would be suitable for her? Kirito actually left the Blue Rose Sword in her care. Surely one day Tisei would be able to hear Yujo's voice. It wasn't too long after that both of them got promoted to lower Integrity Knights. Roni got number 33, you know, a slight parallel to Kirito, and number 32 for Tisei. This one even more appropriate. You may be wondering, didn't Yujo get that number? But it turns out that was actually never made official. Keep in mind there is no more synthesis ritual or life being frozen, which means starting with both of these girls going forward, new knights will come and go. But hold up, there's a few more. In SAO Memory Defrag, they actually had a vote asking players who they wanted to see as knights. First off, Dual Blade Kirito. Of course, all black, with a hint of lemon. Both of the blades look like a variant of the Night Sky Blade. You could bet that Kirito asked Quinella for some help. Integrity Knight Shinon. Renly, is that you? Ah, Moni teasing. Looks like someone's gonna challenge the Crimson Knight for the top archer spot. Integrity Knight Asuna. My Stacia, she looks damn great. Perhaps a little better than Goddess Asuna. She's got a very nice update to her OG SAO look. Integrity Knight Yuki. I'm really digging the red usage here. Naturally, this being Dual Blade Yuki. She really is resembling in this Dark Knight or even Fanatio. From the 4, which Integrity Knight do you think looks the best? Which one would you buy as a figure? I would definitely take Asuna and Yuki any day of the week. And a quick thank you to Icarus M. If you're interested, why not give them a look via my link below? It's worth it just for the goodies alone. Plus, just by checking it out, you are helping to support videos like this one. Anyway, bonus question for hardcore fans. You posted your favorite knight earlier, but which is your favorite weapon plus perfect weapon control? Go ahead and let me know below. Subscribe for more juicy SAO and anime videos, watch the latest ones, and I'll see you guys later.